we try to continue to outreach to veterans, and we're looking for avenues to do that. And we're always looking for ways to bring new people into the system.
One thing for a good idea, the disabled veterans, they run their service officer vans. They're at the Bowie DAV parking lot about 3 times a year. Is there any way that the VA could partner up with the DAV so when they send out the letter and maybe have a mobile unit there for veterans who have not signed up, that they have the opportunity to sign up at these various sites? Because they do this, they have, well, let's see, the last time they were here, they were down in Fort Washington, then they went to Camp Springs, and then they came to us. It was 3 different days.
Absolutely. We have an outreach coordinator. Our Department of Public Relations manages an outreach group, and I would like to, after the show, get you in contact, because they are always looking to come out and enroll, help people find out about services. They will attend any special event and bring any complement of our staff that the group may be interested in hearing from. But primarily what we do is we send people out to do outreach and enrollment.
I know Mr. Dennis Smith is the director of the Maryland healthcare system, and unfortunately he had a commitment, and we're really glad that you came, Nancy, because we really needed to get this information out. If Dennis gets a hold of our national adjutant, who normally, you know, the national commanders of most organizations is a figurehead, but the national adjutants, they're paid employees. I wouldn't be afraid to say that if Dennis would get a hold of Mr. Wilson there in Cincinnati, and say, well, can you put a little paragraph saying that your hospital van might be there or to register? I'm sure that they would partner up with that in a heartbeat.
We would love to have any opportunity that we could take that would help us get out there and outreach to veterans. And as usual, we are glad to partner with any organization and all of the service organizations.
We have a special in the DAV. All of us are multiple organizations, but the DAV has I think a deeper commitment in this area. I mean, the other organizations I belong to are wonderful places for veterans to belong, but the DAV exists to help disabled veterans. I mean, it's even, for example, at our national convention, it's kind of unique from the others. We had no social program, and it's really all business, and the business is your business. You know? And we're very happy, and we've been very, very happy with the treatment that Dennis Smith has given us for years. He's been there's no better friend of the veteran than Dennis.
Yes.
One more thing is that as far as enrollment, as long as you were a veteran, you don't have. What about a veteran who has a non-service connected disability? Or can they still be seen at the VA?
They can, and one of the things that we encourage people to do is never assume that you are not eligible for services. We would like you to contact us in the 3 ways that I mentioned: our website, come by, or call our enrollment center, and go through your eligibility. A lot of people feel sometimes that they are not eligible, but frequently they are. And sometimes, as you know, there are different ways to become eligible, but there are also sometimes people who have had hardships that can be taken into consideration. So I think what is most important, if you feel that you need care, never assume that you're not eligible. And there are people to help you work through that process and complete the paperwork that's necessary to enroll, and that's what we're here for. And we'd rather you come and find out than just assume that you're not, because most often, most veterans are.
That's an excellent point, because a lot of people just assume they're not, or they assume they're not a veteran or whatever.
Yes.
And you'd be surprised how many veterans don't realize they are veterans. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, a few years ago, there was issues about enrollment and the backlog of applications and so forth. And we haven't heard anything, recently. So how is that coming along?
Well, this is something that we're trying very hard at. In fact, one of the things that we have done, we have actually created an enrollment center. And this is something that we've been doing for several years, but in the life of the VA is relatively a new concept. And so we have staff and a space that is completely dedicated to enrollment and helping people get set up with their first appointments.
The person enroll online?
you can enroll online. If you go to our website, you will see your ability to, get to those forms into that website.
The so-called Category 8 veterans, so many of them don't know. That's the group that have non-service connected disabilities and they're not aware of it. It's an unbelievable thing. I was at the National DAV convention talking to one of the service officers. Said that almost anyone who served in Vietnam, was even close to combat, almost is entitled to a pension, disability pension.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
just so many things, and people have no idea that their current problems trace back unless they talk to one of our service officers, and then we steer them in your direction, Nancy. And it's,
Do they have an Agent Orange
Clinic?
clinic up at, right?
Yes.
Because one thing that I found out most recently, because I put 13 months in Vietnam, but I was way up north. I was in I Corps. I was up in Da Nang, and there was no, that I know of, any Agent Orange sprayed up in that area. But any person who served in Vietnam on ground is a candidate for Agent Orange, period.
even some of the people on ships.
Well, yes, right.
I mean, it's, yeah, it's just, we've had so many people who've joined the DAV and suddenly learned that, this is that they've had this condition, they never quite, either didn't do anything about it or didn't think where it started, So we really, the purpose of this program is to ask Bowie veterans to join the many organizations, and it's a wonderful opportunity. I mean, I think anybody who's a veteran who isn't a member, for example, the DAV is crazy.
Right.
It's really cutting him or herself short.
As a matter of fact, there's a VA newsletter on Agent Orange, and that comes out from time to time because I get one probably twice a year, specifically about Agent Orange and what benefits are still
Now,
available.
I mentioned these veterans who are non-service connected. Now, when they talk to someone, that's a lot of times they're what they think is non-service connected because 10 years after they got out or 20 years, it could still stem back to something that initiated this when they were on active duty, which would make it a service-connected disability then, wouldn't it? And this is something
right.
you don't take for
Right,
granted.
right.
Let the experts tell you.
Right.
All
right,
the people
right.
who served at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina for about a 20-year period, drinking bad water.
Right.
And all kinds of, for example, a very odd disease for men is male breast cancer.
Right.
And that is very, very common among Marines who served at Camp Lejeune, and that dates back to the water supply was poisoned for a
Right.
very long time.
Yeah, from the late 50s up until the middle 70s. It was almost a 20-year period there.
I just left
And I was
Lejeune
down
a
there
couple of
twice.
years earlier. We had
I
clean
was
water.
there twice during that time.
And the one thing that we really ought to remind all of the returning veterans who have come either from Afghanistan or Iraq, they have all been granted eligibility for 5 years, and they
Right.
really should take advantage of that. And there's also a tremendous amount of support for families, and there's a lot of counseling for families as people have trouble readjusting as they have come home. And so we really ought to remind all of our younger veterans who are just becoming eligible for this system that they really ought to consider us and take advantage of those benefits.
Well, the co-location is going to help, especially places at Fort Meade, because then you can get the soldier, sailor, Marine, airman, when they're coming off of active duty as part of their out processing to go right through the VA clinic to make
Right.
sure you're signed up. Because right now you have to opt in as opposed to opt out, and
Right.
I never thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
That should be an automatic part of out processing.
Right.
And another thing that we're very proud of, as you know, we participate in helping to, for people who've filed for benefits. We do the compensation and pension exams. And we're very proud of the fact that we're processing exams in about 14 days. So we are really working very hard to try to serve returning veterans in any capacity, whether it's through this compensation and pension process or whether it's hopefully enrolling them in health care, which is what we hope. We hope that for all the people that we see as they try to see if they need or are eligible for benefits, that they use our health care services.
Now, you're very close to McVet, the Maryland Center.
Yes, we are.
Now, do you have any coordination with McVet, Colonel Williams?
Yes, we do. first of all, you know, our director, Dennis Smith, is on their board, so we're very active in that way. And we actually go over and hold some clinics for the veterans at McVets, and we're a referral source for them. And that's probably something we should talk about, just how active we are with people who are homeless and other services such as substance abuse, whether it be alcohol or drugs. We have a lot of programs and outreach trying to help people who need this type of care. And we refer a lot to McVets and vice versa, as some people have become homeless. And we have a very large outreach program. And something else that we're doing is we're coordinating with the HUD, Housing Urban Development, and we have vouchers. So we are trying to give a continuum of care. People maybe come into our inpatient setting or take in some of our detox. We help them as we continue through helping them get back into the community, helping them stabilize in the community with housing. And so they call it the HUD VASH, which is HUD VA vouchers, where our social workers are working with HUD and helping to get people placed in the community and lead stable, productive lives.
Do you have any relationship with Charlotte Hall at all?
Well, Charlotte Hall, as you know, is run by the state.
Well,
Well,
run
it's
by the
funded
state.
by the VA, but
Funded
partly,
by-
but
right.
it's run by the Maryland
But
Department of
since
Health.
Maryland does have, it's a 50,
Right.
2/3, 1/3 thing.
Right.
And they do have a VA clinic there, but I was just
Right.
wondering, do they have a bus shuttle to come to Baltimore or Washington?
Most of the people who, that clinic, that outpatient clinic that is run on Charlotte Hall property is run by the DCVA. And so most of the people who are going there are using the DCVA.
Right.
But as you know, veterans have the right to use any hospital system that they want in the VA. It doesn't have to be in the state that you live. And so just to remind everybody, people have the right to use whatever healthcare system in the nation that they so choose.
So I imagine you must have a close association with the local police, because typically with a homeless person, their first contact may be with the police and some association with them trying to get into the VA system.
Sometimes, but I'll tell you, I think most of our outreach really comes from the staff that we hire who actually go out on the streets. Most of our social workers in the homeless program have a relationship with the shelters and actually go out on the streets and try to connect with veterans, as well as other agencies who know of us and make professional referrals, because as you know, there are many social agencies who provide services to people who are homeless or near homeless. And so we really try to have a relationship with them. I think we have a good reputation of being a healthcare system that provides comprehensive services such as what we're talking about, assisting people if they're homeless. We also have a domiciliary out at Perry Point. So there are people who have come into our care and trying to stop using substance, and we can go into our domiciliary program where we help them to maintain sobriety and abstinence, and then help them with employment, finding jobs, and they can stay in our dom as they get ready to reintegrate back into their own communities.
Well, it's hard to believe, but once again, our 30 minutes is up. I want to thank Nancy from the VA coming in as our guest today. And we want to thank you for watching Veterans Forum. Now we hope you enjoyed the program and learned some important information useful to you and your family. Now it's time for you to get active. Join the veterans organizations in Bowie. Come out and see us. Go to the American Legion. Go to the DAV. Come out and find out about your benefits and become active and part of the veteran community. And you can learn more about the benefits that you have earned for you and your family. Thanks again for watching Veterans Forum.